This podcast is produced by the Harwood Productions Podcast Network. To learn more about the network and to find more of our shows, visit us online at www.harwoodpodcast.com.
Hello, I'm Helene Woods, and this is Let's Quilt, episode number 16. Today we're going to start assembling our placemat. I'd like to show you how it looks. Now this is going to be our focus fabric, and here again is our accent fabric. First thing that we have to do when we start this is we're taking our center focus fabric and we're going to have to cut off a little 1-inch diagonal all the way around. Now we're going to have to do this for all the 4 corners, so I'm going to take my fabric, I'm going to inch it right up to the yellow lines there. I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to set it down and I'm going to place it. There's 1 inch coming down, 1 line coming out here, 1 line coming on there, and I get those all lined up, and then I take my rotary cutter and just cut off, and you have a nice diagonal line right there. Now the next thing we're going to have to do, and this is very important to make sure that we have our placemat centered in the middle of the thermalon, we're going to have to divide each of these into 4ths, both the focus fabric and this. So what I have done is, I'm going to show you, I'll just fold this. Press this down a little bit, and then I'm going to take a pin, and I'm going to stick it right there in there, and then I'm going to pin it. And that way I can hopefully get a nice straight line. I'm going to do this down here too. I'm going to do the same this way. And on this side also. Now we're going to do the same thing with our focus centerpiece. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to fold it in 2, mark it with a pin, and do the same thing on the other side. Now this is important because you've got to keep these centered so that when we start adding our strips, they'll go on much evenly. There. Here we go. Pin this one and this one. Now to make sure that everything is nice and straight, I'm going to use my long ruler. I'm just going to check and make sure that everything is nice and straight. That side is fine, and there again, that side is fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to line my pins up to any line here on my grid and just move my ruler right up to it, and you see they're nice and straight. We'll do the same thing for the large piece too. I'm going to use my 505 fabric adhesive spray, and on this one I'm not going to spray it onto the white fabric here. I'm going to just spray it on the back of our focus fabric, and that works really well. So it just takes a shot or 2, and then leave it and then lay it right back down again. Then I'm going to fold it back and I'm going to do the same thing. It just takes a little bit. There. Smooth it out so that it's nice and flat, and that should hold it there until we start stitching without any problem. Now the important part starts. We're going to start putting on our strips here, here, and here. So you take your 11 by 2 inch piece of fabric, and you take it, I'm going to move this out of the way, and you're going to put it right sides together. Now you're not going to meet at any corner at all. You're just going to lay it right on there. Make sure that you have about the same overhang on either side. So we'll put that there and we'll pin it. So I have my little 11-inch sticker on here. I can remove that. You will see how more important that will be when we get going here. And I'm take this, I'm turned it upside down, and I'm going to get it again and have about the same amount of what I would call a little ear sticking out, and we'll pin that also. All right, now we're going to take our other little accent piece, and this is the 6-inch one. And we're going to lay it, and there again, it's not going to be even with anything. You're going to have a little ear that's going to be sticking out over. Just make sure that those get on there nice and even as you can, and pin those also. I'll do one more. Here we go on the other side. There again, you're going to have one little end sticking out. That's fine. We're going to pin those too. All right, now we have these all lined up and we're ready to sew. So we're going to take, and I suggest that you use your walking foot again and just stitch 1/4 inch all the way along each of these. You come to the end here, and you pick up and start and do on their ends. So each one will be sewn independently as you go along. Okay, here we are, we're almost to the end of our seam, and there again I'm going to move this little piece of fabric out of the way so I have a clear vision of what I'm doing. Remove my pin and then just carry on and stitch just to the end of when you see your other fabric showing up. And then you can stop right there. You don't have to come any further than that. Okay, let me turn it. Okay, I've turned my fabric. And I'm going to start sewing my second seam. There again, don't forget, 1/4 inch. Just go along, and then as you come to your pin, then stop and take it out, and then carry on. Coming to the end of this stitching part, I'm going to stop right here, and then I'm going to carry on and doing it for the other corners. Turn. All right, we have our first seams all sewn for our placemats. What we're going to do, we're going to take them back, use a little pressure with our fingers here, get those streams nice and straight all the way around. There. Then we're going to use our iron, and there again, remember, we don't want to glide it, we just want to press it down, hold it there. It should be nice and straight. Now we're steaming these, and I think that that will help them lay nice and flat for you. The next time we get together, we're going to continue putting our strips down, and we're going to be putting our focus strips right here on the corners. So until next time.